Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. It's Local Chat. We've got a dancing gummy bear, Mewtwo, Sand Shriek.
It's Sandshrew.
Sandshrew dancing Local Chat episode 118. You know what I have 118 of?
Don't want to know.
Can't tell you for legal reasons. 118 episodes left to guess what I have. Joining me this week, as always, pro DOS member here. He's for DOS. Says it right above his head. Ian Gibson.
You know, I never did like DOS.
Yes, Daddy.
DOS boot.
Speaking of DOS boot, Jake's here.
Because I'm a movie aficionado, or because I like submarines. What's the?
It's a great book.
Or the third option.
Yeah, or the third option. God, how was World War I, 2, 2.5?
2.
That was
3.
Yeah, it's.
I was
2.
trying to remember which one had some U-boats, right?
Yes.
But DOS
Yes.
boot is 2.
Yes.
I was thinking specifically U-boats. Folks, this is a video game podcast where we don't really talk about video games anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. If this was a turtleneck, I think I'd be very Steve Jobs.
Do you want to
right
hear?
now.
I'm sorry, real quick. Do you want to hear a crazy German U-boat story?
If you would like to
Sure.
tell one.
This has been a family legend, and we were never really sure it was true until I talked to my grandfather recently and confirmed it. He was like 4 or 5 years old during World War II. His dad was in the Navy. So his family, him and his mom, were stationed out of Puerto Rico, I believe. And at some point in the middle of the war, they were like, hey, it's not really safe here. So we need you. We're going to take you back to like Connecticut or whatever. So they loaded up all these civilians on troop transport ships, like 3 or 4 ships. And they took them from Puerto Rico up to, I think it was Boston. And along the way, one of the ships got sunk by a German U-boat, like off the East Coast, and like it was this rumor until like my grandpa, like I asked him about it, and we were talking about it. And it's one of the rare moments where like he wants to talk about it, and he's lucid enough to like give details. And he was like, yeah, it was the ship ahead of us. And he goes, I remember because we were standing I was standing at the railing, and we went past the wreckage, and there's all these dead bodies and flames in the water, and I was like,
Jeez.
oh my God. So, like, I came this close to not being here today because of a German submarine in World War II.
Have the lamb stopped screaming yet?
That's wild.
My grandmother lived outside of London, and during one of the raids, a bomb went through her room, through her house, and didn't go off.
Yikes.
Jeez.
And they were like ushered outside. And I always remember she told that story, and she said the most embarrassing thing, because she didn't really realize what happened, was that the boy next door saw her in her nightgown,
Oh,
and she thought
Scandal.
embarrassed. Scandalous.
how far outside of London did she live? Like Munich, Berlin? I'm sorry, I had to. It's too easy.
Ooh, well, and she could leave the emerald mines in South Africa.
Oh, she was a Musk. Gotcha.
Yeah, she was Musk. Must see. That's not a good joke. Speaking of Elon Musk,
I was about to say, who put SpaceX in the chit chat section?
I
didn't
did,
do
because
that.
did you see the Kerbal Space Program video feed? Because that thing was wobbling.
I did. I somehow I didn't have a meeting at the time, so I had it going while I was working this morning. And as soon as they took off and they showed the rocket trail, I was like, why is that plume weird? And it's because some of the engines weren't firing. And then like you said, as soon as it did the maneuver where they're like, it's gonna flip over retrograde now and do a reverse boost to slow down, because they didn't want to do a full orbit, I was like, oh, it's past retrograde. It's just flopping. So
Yeah.
it's so funny you bring that up, because that's literally what I was thinking about, which is just like, as weird as it sounds, I was sitting there being like, I've played Kerbal, and I've played Kerbal enough to tell this is not going right before they said anything.
The worst part was like, the wiggle is realistic, which sucks because it means that
Yeah.
it'll never go away.
Do you see the gravity turn? They started it before 10,000 feet. They
No,
started it like right away.
I didn't watch it live, but the like Twitter upload version of it, it didn't even include like the later half of it. I just saw it take off in the first like 50 seconds, and it was on the way up. It was doing that, and I was just like,
yeah.
didn't have enough
Apparently,
struts between both ends.
What I just saw was apparently it was a deliberate self-destruct because I'm assuming they just got to a point where they completely lost control. They couldn't control the debris, so they were just like, fucking blow it. So they just blew it, that's basically the equivalent of hitting escape, revert to space plane hangar in in Kerbal
with no lives lost. And all the money in the world.
The funniest part though is it's hard for me. I don't know how I feel about SpaceX. I don't know if you guys have this problem because on the one hand, it's like they're doing some fantastic things for rocket science, but on the other hand, they've got like just a massive asshole in charge of them. So, and then in the middle is the fact that they're like we're like the cutting edge of private space industry, and it's like, how much of your fucking budget comes from like government subsidies?
A lot.
Like, government handouts.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, one of the funny things is I kind of noticed this and I just assumed it wasn't going to be an issue, which is that if you ever watch like a NASA launch, they have like water that sprays the bottom of the rocket when it takes off. And it's literally to like dampen the dust, make sure flames don't catch anything on fire. It's basically to contain like the literal explosion of the rockets taking off.
And it's a lot of water. Like have you taken the tour at KSC?
No, I haven't taken the tour because it's like $300 now, but I will one day. But yeah, I could imagine it's a lot. SpaceX didn't do that at all. They did not have a blast shield. They did not have water. And there are videos circulating. There's an image of just a giant crater underneath the launch complex.
Nice.
And the other thing is there are videos of like a parking lot, like a van parked in a parking lot, probably let's say like 500 yards from. Actually, I'm going to say it's a decent ways. It's maybe like it's hard. Let's call it 1,000 yards. It's probably 1,000 yards from the launch complex. And so when the rocket takes off, all these fucking debris starts flying, and a rock slams into the back of the van, like enough to like shatter the window and break like the C-pillar. Like SpaceX is doing some great things, but I think for me personally, the biggest thing they fucked up on that launch was like, how do you launch it in the middle of Texas like that, in the wetlands, next to all these fucking fuel tanks, and you have like zero protective measures for the rocket plume?
It's crazy.
That's insane.
I remember seeing pictures of that, like the launch tower, and thinking that exact thing to myself. I'm like, where's the I forget what they call it, the spillway or the whatever that channels the flame and the water to somewhere safe-ish.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that.
It's wild. And they literally have giant fuel tanks like right next to it. It looks like an oil refinery next to the launch site. And it's just like, what are you fucking idiots doing? So
well, if you run out of fuel, it's just like you're good. It's right there.
You know, I'm sorry. If the government's giving you a shitload of free money, you might as well blow shit up while you're doing it. You know, have some.
That's true.
They're giving them a lot of money and very little oversight.
Yes. Yeah.
I blew all my COVID money, so same thing.
It was cool to see. It's the biggest rocket humanity has ever fired off, but at the same time, it's a shame that Elon's still there and they're still making some stupid decisions. But oh well.
Oh well.
Cool.
That was a SpaceX rant, folks. I have devised the perfect thing in the world. I have created a trivia beast. And by I mean I stumbled upon it on Google, installed it in a personal Discord server, and now it works. I like trivia. It's probably my favorite thing in the world, besides money and God.
Women.
Did you say women or winning?
Women. I should have said Dwarf Fortress, though.
You should have said Dwarf Fortress. So I thought it'd be fun to so supposedly the library is Trivial Pursuit, but you could narrow it down to
like the game.
To game. Oh yeah, like the Trivial Pursuit game, not a Trivial Pursuit.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Which year or version of Trivial Pursuit is it?
That I don't know. I did narrow the category down to like video games. It wasn't quite video games, so there might be some mix in here.
Gotcha.
So
just real quick, The reason why I bring that up is we had Trivial Pursuit growing up. Everybody loved to
Oh,
play
you
it
don't
except for
cheat.
me, because for some reason it was like the 1981 version, and we were playing it in like 1995, and I was born in 1990. So they're asking questions about like Liberace, and I'm like reading the card, and I pronounce it like Liberus because I'm 7 years old, and my family's like, "You're such an idiot! You can't even pronounce Liberace," and I'm like, "Who is it?" So if we could not play like ancient versions of Trivial Pursuit, I would appreciate that.
For sure.
Thank
Can
you.
I
Also-
ask us who the most recent president is, and it's going to be like Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. It'll be like
It's accurate.
Van Buren. How old is Trivial Pursuit? I don't even know. Anyways, I'm gonna type in "ask me a video game."
You know, more presidents should do a comeback tour where, like, 40 years later they run again. That would be fantastic. It would be so good. It'd be hilarious. I love it.
But they
That's
it would
true.
have to be. It could only be ones that have served one term. Because if they've done 2 terms, then they can't. Like George
Yes.
Bush couldn't come back.
So, like,
term number
LBJ, Wait.
LBJ's dead.
George Bush Sr. could.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Still, there is
him
nothing
up.
saying a dead man can't run for president. I don't think that's in the Constitution.
Let's get Ronald Reagan back in here.
Bernie
Also,
boy. Did you
Roll
know his wife was fantastic at giving blowjobs? Apparently,
That's
do you know
very
that?
common knowledge.
I can only imagine.
on.
Good old Nancy.
Is that the answer to the question? Nancy
Sloppy
Reagan?
Nancy.
What about JFK's head?
It's gone.
How?
We still do. Actually, I'm sorry. This is a callback. I don't know when we talked about this. We talked about JFK and JFK getting shot, and you said we should do a stream where you try and shoot JFK. And I brought up JFK Reloaded, and I have a
There's several
genuine
games
question.
about that.
Yeah, have you heard or played JFK Reloaded?
I've seen
Me?
footage of it,
No.
Yeah, well,
archival footage of it.
it's actually really, really good. It's literally this guy who is like, I think the story is he didn't know whether or not to believe the JFK conspiracy. So he was like, I'm just going to make like a
Simulate it.
source game that literally simulates it. And you just try and shoot JFK and it like tracks the bullet physics and like scores you on how close you got to the real thing. And then it was all publishing the results to a website so people could look at it. And I have played that game so much because it's honestly kind of, it's like a challenge, but it's not impossible. And it's so good because it does kind of like bullet time. It's great. We should play that for a stream. It's genuinely a cool little thing. It's really good.
Is that going to be like, not to be insensitive here, we're already on this track. In like 50 years, there's going to be a kid who's like, I don't believe those planes could have hit. Like recreating in a source.
I mean, 9/11
9/11 Reloaded.
Probably.
And
That's
then
what-
like
That's what
10 years
Teardown
after
is.
that, there's a podcast about it. Oh, God.
You've never heard of 9/11 Reloaded?
Oh man. Double barreled.
No, it's 9/11
It's a-
Jet Fuel Edition.
This is great episode already.
Okay. Can I? It
Hey,
is generated.
Actually, let me just finish this out. I feel like JFK Reloaded is old enough that we could technically do it for scan lines.
Okay. What year did it come out?
I think it's like the early 2000s,
Yeah, it's not
early to
bad.
mid.
Okay. It has generated me a question here. After a couple questions about, surprisingly, one about Rod Stewart, which is not a video game.
I don't know.
He was in
Anything about
Destiny.
Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
No.
He was. He's replacing
Everybody was
Lance
in
Reddick.
Destiny.
Actually, Rod Stewart has I don't know about him personally. He could be a douchebag. But he has an incredible train collection. I know that. He got super into trains. at,
Full size or
50
model?
or 60. Model trains.
What scale?
Not
Do you know
full
what scale?
size. That's stupid.
I think I've seen that. Doesn't he have
He has
one
like
in
a
his basement?
special or
This-
something.
This is set up in
Yeah.
a.
He just like got
can't
super
get
in
into
because I think
trains.
he didn't have him as a kid or something, and just like the overcompensation of it. I've just
can't
received
get
a
into
text from my
trains.
brother. This season of Mando was actually quite good. I heard the opposite.
Disagree.
I'm done. I'm
Hard
just not going to watch that
disagree.
shit. I'm
I
done
watched
with-
3 episodes, and then at work they were like, "Is anyone watching this still?" I'm like, "No."
Nah, it's real messy.
Hey,
okay.
hey, since this is a full tangent episode, a lot of people shit on Boba Fett. I didn't think I liked Boba Fett. Book of Boba
No.
Fett.
Wrong.
It was fine.
I didn't watch
The
it.
Dances with Wolves episode was good.
I love
No,
Boba
but then I
Fett,
kept going back to that.
but I like Empire Strikes Boba Fett. Strikes Back Boba Fett.
See, that's the thing is like all this shit. I'm not fully counter to the public opinion. I'm just off on my own now. I have
Yeah, you
no
are.
I have no contextual like hand holding like touch point where I'm like, oh, this person I agree with. I'm off on my own now. I'm the only
You're-
person that's right.
Yeah.
So
That's working out for you. Anyways. Okay,
yeah,
you ready
what's
for your
this?
question?
What's this? Yeah, what's the Rod Stewart question? It's a great segment so
no,
far.
it-
Great bit.
It's like it copies it, like deletes the message and re-discords it.
God.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have wrote it down. It was Rod Stewart, his like #1 album in the year 1985 or something. Or 60
I don't
or something.
remember.
How old's Rod Stewart? Stewart. Is he related to Patrick Stewart? Oh, what if they're
He's from Twilight Zone. He was in the original Twilight Zone. Rod Stewart.
That's Rod Sterling.
I know. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Welcome to the scary door. Okay. You've never seen the Futurama Scary Door? It's so good. They do
No.
a terrible impression of Rod Serling. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Under what name was the Nintendo Entertainment System released
Famicom.
in Korea?
Is it Famicom? Family computer?
Wait.
Famicom.
No. Okay, no, I remember this because they had to have some sort of. There were some historical disagreements between the Japanese and the Koreans, so I remember they had to like license it to.
Really? Between the Japanese and the Korean?
It was called the Comboy, I think, or it was Com something.
Ooh.
Jake
And I think
Terrio,
Hyundai
if
was
you're
the
about
manufacturer.
Jesus Christ, if you're about to tell me the actual answer to this, I'm going to kill you.
Is that
What
not
was
what
it?
it is?
It,
Hyundai,
Cowboy
the
is
Hyundai
correct. I
Comboy.
didn't hear the other word.
Hyundai. I believe that was it was. I remember it being a car manufacturer.
Okay, so this only gives me answers, but I need to look this up now because I thought this was
Comboy.
atrociously hard.
That's funny. I'm surprised they didn't just go with Famicom because that doesn't have Japanese branding in it.
I think it was also the NTSC version. It was not
Oh,
PAL. It was the
okay.
American version, but with different tech or different like labels
No.
slapped
So,
onto it.
That
so
is
it was
correct.
NES and they had to change it. Hyundai Comboy.
That is correct.
That's
They were
weird.
non-existent in the 90s. Not much is known about it due to the fact that everything about it is in Korean.
That seems like a bad
It's a
excuse for
shitty
not knowing anything
excuse.
about it.
We don't know anything about it because we're too racist to read that
Someone
language.
didn't
Hey,
read the manual.
Nobody wants to read this. We
Jeez.
can't be bothered
Nobody knows how to
translate
speak
it.
Korean.
I just want to see if that. I'm incredibly astounded by that. What's this console called again? Nintendo Entertainment. Do you ever feel weird when you just say Nintendo Entertainment System? Because
Because
it's
Yes.
just like so blanket.
it was one of those things because of
that's
various
your
war
too.
crimes perpetrated by one group against the other, they had to sneakily rebrand or license it to
Hmm.
Hyundai, I guess, to get it on the market.
Just to be
Okay,
clear,
so
there were very clear war crimes committed by Japan and
Oh
Korea.
yes.
oh,
Correct.
Very
100%.
clear. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna write a point down for Jake, and 0 points for you.
Is there more?
No, there's no more. There's one per
I will
week.
probably
Can
not
we
get a
give-
pull as good as that one.
Can we give feedback on this segment? Not a fan.
Is it terrible? Not a fan?
Not a fan. No.
Oh God. Okay, fine.
Maybe
Well, I
at
did
the
look
end.
up,
It's just
and,
weird in chit chat.
In India, it was called the Samurai, which
Ooh,
just
that's
seems
way
kind
better.
of weird. And
Nintendo
then in the Soviet
Samurai.
Union, it was called the Dendy.
Lame.
Which is surprising. Okay,
Oh.
moving on here. Ian, you want to talk about 40K because you're reading some sort of stupid book or something?
Yeah, I finally did it, folks. I've been skirting around 40K my entire life. I thought it was stupid. I didn't want to engage with it. Honestly, genuinely, 100% valid reason because of fucking game store neckbeards. Am I wrong here? Like, game store neckbeards are the worst people.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
I I know you're specifically talking about a stereotype of Game Store neckbeards.
I'm talking
Um,
about the
every s-
reality.
No, but when you say that, I think of like a bad like hobby shop, game shop owner who just like doesn't talk to you or answer questions.
I don't know.
That sort of stuff.
It's like 40K is the same as like comics, which is the same as like gun hobbyist, which is the way that you're expected to engage with the hobby is to like just brag and show off constantly what you own, what you've done, and how much knowledge you have. So it's not about
Sure.
genuine discussion, it's all about bragging. And with 40K it's very similar, but part of it's bragging, but other part of it is just min-maxing. And like that's what, and I just hate that type of like mentality and community for a hobby. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to play any of those war games, those tabletop games, because I don't want to engage with that community, and that's all that 40K is. But between like Dark Tide and Henry Cavill and just all the attention that 40K gets, and random YouTube videos that pop up and I watch them, and just random
spokesperson.
random images that pop up, and I'm like, maybe it's time to finally watch 40K, or I mean engage with 40K. So Will and I talked about this. There's this article, like, we both think that our best way into this hobby personally is reading the 40K books, because they're supposed to be good. And so I literally just like Googled like how to start reading 40K books. And there was this really good article which was like, there's so many different aspects. Like, do you want to get into the supernatural? Do you want to do Space Marines? Do you want to just do like the Imperial Guard, which is just like grunts? Do you want to get into like the Emperor? And they were like, you should start with this or this or that. And so I've been reading Gaunt's Ghosts, which is basically the Imperial Guard, which is just grunts. And I'm enjoying it so far. I think what it does really well, I don't think this is shocking, but none of this is shocking, but it does it really well, and the way it meshes is really enjoyable, is that it's like a combination of like the 40K universe, at least through this aspect of the grunts, is like a combination of World War I, World War II tactics, where it's just like trench warfare, but also there's a little bit more of like a combined warfare. So you've got like tanks and you've got infantry going. It's like a little bit of a band of brothers, but then there's this weird political bent to it, because you have commissars who are just like, brother, that's treason for the emperor. But then the other cool thing is that each regiment, and a regiment is like 1,000 to 2,000 troops, is coming from a home world, and they're very distinct because of who they are and where they come from, the home world. And so you get this inter-regiment like rivalry, where they're very different from each other, and they're like fighting each other. And then there's like the generals that are like weaponizing their regiments, sometimes against each other, sometimes against these weird enemies. And and then there's like supernatural elements to it, like tinged in. So it's just this like really cool like sci-fi fantasy band of brothers. And I've only read one of the books so far, but it's cool. It's real cool.
Starship Troopers the best 40K movie? Because what
honestly,
you're talking about
close.
sounds similar texturally, at least to Verhoeven's. Maybe not the satire. But.
Yeah, it's close, but take Starship Troopers, add a heavy political element to it, like political intrigue, because the regiments are like, I don't trust that regiment because they're commissar, etc. And then add a supernatural element, and then just add this sense of like, you get this with Starship Troopers, but one of the things they say about the Imperial Guard is that like once you join up, you're in for life, because there is always a war somewhere that you are being thrown into. So it's just like endless. And it's just like, yeah, we were on that world for 2 years fighting the orcs, and we killed 1 million of them. And then we went over here and we fought the chaos for 1 million. And then we fought the secessionist over here. And so there's like a supernatural, like endless meat grinder feel to it, which Starship Troopers does have, but not in like this regiment's been fighting for centuries, like nonstop. And it's just fresh meat. So I'll just say, hey, 40K, turns out it's pretty cool. So far, I'm liking it. I recommend the books. It's probably a good way into it. Have I looked at 40K models? Maybe. Have I purchased any? No. But stay tuned. Maybe. I'm not going to play it. Actually, there's some good. There's Kill Team, and there's the what's the other video game?
Bolt
You know the
Gun's the one
one?
that's just came out and is coming to most other consoles
Bolt
soon.
Gun. But I mean the one that's like turn-based tactics and you're in a ship. There's what I'm saying is I don't want to play the tabletop game
Oh,
in person.
Armada?
No, not Armada. But regardless, I may dip a toe into the video game aspect of 40K because I feel like that's a better way for me to get involved with actual 40K without actually having to get onto a tabletop. Even just tabletop sim loading up 40K. So we may have to do that at some point. That could be fun.
We should play Space Hulk. I think that's in tabletop sim.
That's what I'm fucking. That's what I was talking about. Space Hulk. You were just sitting on that the whole time.
The original
Space
board
Hulk.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a Space Hulk tool, but there's a video game. There's a Space Hulk video game, not just in tabletop sim.
Yeah, there's the board game too, I think.
Anyways, 40K. It's cool. Who knew? I never knew.
It's cool. I lost like 4 hours on a wiki page one day. Reading about the Emperor, because you're like, start reading about the Emperor and then you come across a sentence that has a link in it and you're like, what? And then you click on that link and then you're like, what?
I feel like Jake, you would love it because it reminds me a lot of Dune and Hyperion, where the style of of writing is literally just like, we're not going to properly introduce you to this world. We're just going to bombard you with weird terms and weird names and weird premises until it just soaks into your brain. And I think you would enjoy that.
I have not been deliberately avoiding 40K, but I have been like careful around 40K. I treat it the same way I would like heroin, where I know that that if I once I take one, then I'm gonna be hooked. But I know eventually I will
the books are good. As long as you're not like spending thousands of dollars on stupid Games Workshop.
No, I don't think I'd get involved in the miniature aspect at all. I think I would just be with the books and the games and all that.
Yeah. But like my problem with the miniatures, just because this is a full fucking tangent episode. Miniatures are cool, but it's like $40 for what any other model company would cost $15. Like they are just overcharging the shit out of these plastic models because of the economy and the game they have built around it, whereas any other model would be half the price. And that's what pisses me off about the models, is that even if I wanted to, I would end up spending a shitload of money for something that should be cheaper.
Yeah, like I have some Warhammer 40K stuff. I actually have 2 things my friend gave me. I have a tank to put together, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like those black powder Napoleonic figures, I haven't even finished putting the soldiers together yet. There's like 200 soldiers and like 48 cavalry. Cavalry. And it was $80, I think, for all that. Like, for that in Warhammer, unpainted, unbuilt would be like $1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's too much money. I'm jealous.
I'm just looking at it real quick. Like a squad of Space Marines, which it looks like comes with 5 of them, is $50. Whereas if you were like, hey, I want to buy 5 World War II figures, same scale for some set that I'm building, it would be like $15 probably, and the same quality. So it's just like, that's what pisses me off about Warhammer 40. Well, that and the neckbeards. It's a combination.
Yeah, I think what boils down to it is I love every aspect of the Warhammer style games except for actually playing it. If someone paid me to make the models for them, and like I would do that.
And the terrain, make the terrain. I really want to make terrain for people. I would love to do that. Just pay me materials and I'll make terrain for you. I'd love that.
Yeah. If I had room for that, totally. Okay, moving on here to the last thing. I wasn't gonna do a whole bit with this, but I decided not to because I figured it's safer that way when I don't do bits. But I watched The Fugitive a couple weeks ago. Classic movie. I watched it a bunch
David
as a
Twohy
kid.
script.
And then I've watched it a couple times as an adult. Forgot how great of a movie it is. It's fantastic.
It owns.
It's so good. So then I was like, oh, I should watch U.S. Marshals because I'm pretty sure I watched that as a kid. It's got a young Robert Downey Jr. in it. It's got an old other people in it. It's got
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, old Academy Award winner Tommy Lee Jones. Um, I made it about 30 minutes, and I
It's
turned it
not as good.
off. Um,
Wow,
and
that's
I talked to
surprising.
Ian about this. I was gonna show the clip. I could not find a good YouTube clip of it to show. I found someone recording their like 4x3 80s television with the scene on like TNT, and I was like, oh, I should really show this on stream, but I'm not going to. The plane crash is incredible. And I turned it off after that because I couldn't stop laughing. The the guy makes like a toilet gun or whatever, and goes to shoot one guy. He misses, shoots out a window. The side of the plane blows open. People get sucked out. So now the pilots are like, "We gotta land this thing." And of course, Samuel Jackson, Tommy Lee Jones gets up, runs to the pilots, and opens the door, looks at them, doesn't say a thing, and then closes the door and runs back to his seat. And I'm like, what is the point of this scene? And so he gets back in the seat. The guys are flying the plane. They're like, oh, we gotta land. Emergency landing. Emergency landing. And they see a highway. And they're like, great. So they land on the highway. Hit the highway. Brakes aren't working. It's quick shot of the wheels like wearing down flat. And then it cuts to the pilots, cuts to the front view. There's a cliff at the end of the highway. Plane goes
Perfect.
off the cliff, hits the ground. Meanwhile, cuts to guy who was sitting next to Tommy Lee Jones having a heart attack. And
Oh my
even
god.
worse day. Then the plane like shears, rolls, lands in a river upside down, starts filling with water, and then they start escaping.
Well, they were obviously trying to one up the train crash from the first
Yeah.
movie, which my
But I
dad
was-
always tells a story about that of being at the technical awards, which are before the Academy Awards, but they're presented by the Academy. And the
Mhm.
year that stunt happened and they like played the clip at the ceremony, it got a standing ovation.
Wow, it's a pretty sweet stunt in
Yeah.
the original, but they were like, "Oh, how do we top this?" Because the criminal has to escape from a giant crash. That's the only way a fugitive can happen is if they get out, escape during a giant crash. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Just every second it was trying to. Anyways, I turned that movie off. I did not finish it, but I felt like I had to go look it up. Not on YouTube unless you want to watch it on 80s television. But
I do.
it was on HBO Max, I think. So watch like the first 20 minutes. It was a wild country.
Jeez.
I'm starting to watch things that I enjoyed when I was younger, and I start hating them. So I've decided never to watch a thing ever again a second time because I just want to hold on to that enjoyment for the rest of my life. Moving on, folks. Finally to the content of the podcast, the games we have been playing this week. Jake, I'd like to hear from you first. Please tell me
Okay.
about these 3 games you have selected.
Well,
talk
yeah.
about.
So, because I was saying before the stream, I played like 35 games this week because I've been capturing footage for a video that I've been working on, and I've been emulating them and playing them with this USB GameCube controller,
Ooh.
which it's really nice. But that's how I played Bionicle Heroes for the Nintendo DS, developed by
Oh.
Amaze Entertainment in association with TT Games.
Wow.
It's this weird little anomaly in the Lego interactive catalog because it's a first-person shooter. And Bionicle Heroes on console was a third-person shooter because when TT Games was developing it, they had like a year of development where it was first person, but it was at a point in time where the ESRB was giving first-person shooters like across the board M ratings solely because they were first-person shooters, regardless of like the actual content they're in. And
Jeez.
so Lego was like, no, we can't
Thanks.
publish an
Hillary.
M-rated game. And so they made it third person and got it down to an E10 rating. But then the handheld version on the Nintendo DS is then inexplicably just a first person shooter again. And it plays like a little like Doom Quake type game, but with Bionicle
Wow.
characters and Bionicle enemies. And it's pretty fun. And the levels
Damn.
only take like 6 minutes each to get through.
Beautiful.
Very digestible. And I played through the whole thing and I captured the whole thing. And because it was on such a small window. It doesn't take that much space on my hard drive.
Nice.
But that's all I have to say about that. I also
Wow.
played Star Wars Republic Commando,
Oh yeah.
which
Oh
is
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I downloaded it onto my Switch when it was available for the Switch, like maybe a year and a half ago when they ported it onto the Switch. And I bounced off of it. I got like halfway through the Geonosis level and just wasn't vibing with it. But I went back to it this week and finished the Geonosis level and started to play through the uh it's a Star Destroyer. You're investigating a like derelict
Oh.
Star Destroyer, and it's pretty good. And it was from that period of time where not all of the clones were Tamura Morrison, and so there's like multiple voice actors across the clones, and they all have like different personalities and a great like interplay with each other. Um, yeah, it's a good game.
I just,
I
they keep making fucking Star Wars movies. They keep making fucking Star Wars games. They keep making fucking Star Wars TV shows. And all anybody wants, the whole fucking world is clamoring for it, is Republic Commando 2. Like, think about how popular FPS games are right now. Think about how popular, like, Call of Duty, Battlefield, type games are where you're a little bit more tactical. Think about how popular squad-based multiplayer games are, like Squad, Hell Let Loose. They could strike it fucking rich with Republic Commando with a single player campaign and some like large-scale multiplayer squad-based combat, and they lean into the tactical realistic element of it. Like there is actually this started as a joke, but there is legitimately a lot of people playing Squad specifically for a Star Wars Clone Wars mod for it,
Yeah,
which
I'd
is
go for it.
basically Republic Commando. Like this thing is fucking ripe for a sequel, and these
And
idiots keep making bad shit.
now they'd only have to hire one voice actor because now Tamura
Exactly.
Morrison is the only voice of any of the clones.
They don't even need to hire him. Just Chat GPT rip all his lines from this Book of the Boba the Fett and shit. You
Book
know,
of the
that's all
Boba
you
the
got to
Fett.
do.
Oof.
I there's one game above that for me, which we'll talk about later in the news section. But I have never played Republic Commando. I, like you, Jake, have only played that first Geonosis level and bounced off of it. So I think I have it on the Xbox Series X. Maybe I'll
It's
install
good.
that and play
It
it.
is good. I'm excited to play more of it. But and then the last big game I played was Lego City Undercover, which I had played through once before, not on the Wii U, because it was this weird kind of anomaly in that because the Wii U sold so poorly,
How
it
dare
didn't.
you?
The Lego City Undercover was
Fuck 'em.
technically a launch title for it. Nintendo had gone to Lego and TT and said, "Hey, we're developing a new
Yeah,
console. Can you
that's
make a game
right.
for us?" Reggie went on stage at E3 and announced this game. Um, but then, like, hardly anybody played it, and I hadn't played it obviously because I didn't have a Wii U. But then, years later, they ported it to a bunch of other stuff, and so I played it on the Switch for the first time maybe a year ago. And I remember thinking to myself, this feels a lot like a really, really expensive Lego Island game.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I played it again, just like a week or two ago and recorded
Mm.
the whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, this is just big AAA Lego Island 4.
It has a lot of praise, and then I'm pretty sure they reused. I don't want to say reused because that sounds bad, but I'm pretty sure a lot of Lego Marvel superheroes, I believe, is very similar to that because you are
Oh,
in
it's
New York
possible.
City and you're
I haven't
switching
played them.
between all these different Marvel heroes. And I played a little bit of that. I just don't like the Lego gameplay, the Lego games gameplay.
Mhm.
But I did play a little bit of that, and the people who liked it, they loved it because of just exactly like we were saying. It's a giant open world. You got all these characters. You got all this stuff you can do.
Yeah, and I'll say it does diverge enough from the like Lego Star Warsy gameplay
Hmm.
formula, that it definitely like because that was why I didn't play it for such a long time. Is I'd played Lego Star Wars and Lego Indiana Jones and a couple ones after that, and then at a certain point, even as a youth, I was like, okay, so TC Games is just making the same game over and over and over. Um,
Yes.
but this one is different, and it's got some fun, fresh stuff to it, and it's fully voice acted. which I know is not a big deal now, but I remember it being a big deal at the time, and I also remember thinking to myself, Lego Island had full voice acting in 1997. It was just after Lego Star Wars that they took voice actors and just did, the cutesy, cartoony
Mhm.
grunt and all that. Um, but yeah, Lego City Undercover, pretty fun, pretty good.
I need to speaking of Lego, I need to play more of that Skywalker Saga. I really enjoyed it. Like I think I'm with you, Ian, where the gameplay isn't really what grabs me. The thing I like about those games is, especially that new one, is seeing the things they make out of Lego.
Yeah.
Like they make those little like pedestals for each movie, and those are cool to look at. So I need to go back in there and play that more, because they did like the fast travel and like you can like fly around the galaxy and stuff. That was really neat in those. So I gotta check that out. I'm gonna go here real quick. Fire Emblem Engage. Not Engage. Damn it. Path of Radiance. I'm playing. I took a break from it. There was a mission I tried about 4 times, and I kept losing someone, and I was just like, screw it. And also,
You have to be a real gamer and play on easy mode where people can die all the time and it doesn't matter. That's what us real gamers do when we play Fire Emblem.
I should do that. I
love it.
also
It's
that
great.
controller disconnect thing on the Steam Deck kept happening, and it was pissing me off. So, but I do usually play it like before bed, because the Steam Deck's nice and portable. So, it's a perfect thing to play in bed. Really sets the mood. Playing with all those anime boys. One more turn, Karen. One more turn. Then Kenshi I picked up this week. Picked up and dropped. I started a new character named Espresso. She's lovely. I spent about an hour on her breasts, and they're perfect, and I love them. No, I'm
Oh,
just
too
kidding.
far.
But they do have like too many breast options, and I was just like, this isn't for me. Like, what are we doing here?
It's the
so
sign
anyways,
of a great indie game. Too
It's
many
true.
breast options.
So anyways, I ran around a city a bunch. I got my sneak up, got everything out, and I said, let's go explore the world, and immediately was enslaved. And then I sat in a cage for 4 days. I escaped from the cage. I ran
Nice.
back to a city. And then on the way back, a spider ate me and I died. And then I said,
Nice.
you know what, Kenshi? I'll wait for 2. But also the nice thing about Kenshi is you can play it a bunch of different ways. I was playing it in RPG mode. And I think next time I go play it, I'm going to do like RTS stuff in it rather than RPG,
Mhm.
just to get a little bit more fun out of it. Because I think I prefer those games anyways. There's not enough interactivity in that game. There's so much lore and stuff happening around you, and the mod scene is really crazy. I can see myself getting into that. But the base game, it's a lot of make your own fun, and that only gets you so far. But it is a fun, janky game that runs horribly, but is an absolute blessing to play because it's just hectic crap all the time.
Mhm.
And then finally, Elden Ring began journey number 2. I was watching highlight videos of people playing Elden Ring, and I was like, oh, I should just start Elden Ring, play Elden Ring again. So I started. I said, enough with this Game of Thrones sword. I'm gonna use a katana. And
Are you started fresh, or are you doing New Game Plus?
New Game Plus?
And that does have like a difficulty modifier on it, right?
Yeah,
but
it makes
you
everything in the world.
you can keep all your levels and weapons and spells and
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Despite that, absolutely annihilated the starting boss, and then fell to my own death because you have to. Then I absolutely annihilated Margit in one shot, and like easily. Then I absolutely annihilated the guy in Stormvale Castle,
Godric.
Godric, not
or Godfrey?
Yeah.
Killed him, and then I killed the thing in the basement.
Gilbert?
And then today I
Gilbert.
just killed the dragon that's like down in the south a little bit. So I'm like killing things. I'm like at level 146. I just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
was
walk
way
around and
over
kill
leveled.
everything.
At the end of my first playthrough.
Yeah, I forget the sword I'm using, but it's like 3 hits and then it's a giant blood loss.
Rivers of blood.
So I don't think
Yeah, the
it's
bloody
Rivers of
katana,
Blood.
whatever it is.
Yeah, it's one of the
think it's
blood
Rivers.
katanas, but I don't think
It's
it is. I
Rivers.
think it's a different one because
Mm.
I would have remembered that name.
Streams of Crimson.
Streams of yeah, piss of red.
I was thinking, just to interrupt you,
damn it.
I was thinking we should do an Elden Ring PC stream and just shitload of mods. Just get
Do
crazy,
the
crazy,
Elden
crazy
Ring
with the mods.
randomizer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
where
an
items
Elden
are all
Ring
different
randomizer.
and the enemies are all different. So you
There's-
might
Jet
Plane
encounter the
one.
Elden Beast in, Caelid.
I want to
Yeah.
sign up for Garden of Eyes Patreon so I can get the jet and tank one.
Yeah.
And nuke everything. But I am really enjoying it. I went through all of Stormvale Castle and it was nice walking through one of the dungeons with confidence and being like, I can check around every corner because even if I get hit, I can just drink like one of my 14 fucking
Yeah.
things and then kill it. But it is nice. I have a lot of opportunity to actually like practice parrying and dodging properly and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
So it feels good. It's fun to go through that world again and see everything. I'm exploring a lot less because I've seen so much before.
Mhm.
But it's funny. Again, that it's just making me explore the legacy dungeon setups so much more because I can finally like see what's going on inside those and check out. There was a couple rooms I'd never seen in Stormvale Castle because there was an enemy guarding it and I did not feel like fighting him. I can't remember how to get to the lake above the castle.
You got to go around the east.
Oh, is that how you do it? Okay, I was
Mhm.
thinking that was cheating, but I guess that is how you do it.
No,
thought there
there's
was
a
an
bunch of
exit.
wolves.
Afterwards, is that
No,
exit to
you
the
can just
south?
walk
But
around the wall.
Yeah,
No, I
just
think
walk
you're
around
right.
the wall.
I think I was just going the wrong
But it's
way.
on the
Anyways,
east. It's the east side.
I did try out the ray tracing mode for a little bit, but it brings it down to like 40 frames per second, and it's a little too low for me in that game. But I have noticed, I don't know if it was because I quick resumed, but that wouldn't really make sense. There's a ton of texture pop in on quality mode on the Xbox that I don't remember. And there's also like a light halo around my character, like a chroma halo that I don't remember either.
I do remember that. There's a
Okay.
bit of a glow on you.
Maybe
yeah.
that was there. I think
Glow up.
I'm being too critical on games now, and it's ruining
Maybe
my
it's your
experience
TV.
of them.
It's your
It's not
TV.
my. I fucking
Now that you're
hate you.
fancy hotshot GameSpot employee.
Yeah, exactly. I'm reviewing games day and night. Yeah,
Day and
so
night.
day and night. Always reviewing, always on the grind. I'm British now. I don't know why. Anyways, that's the games I've been playing this week. It wasn't much else. Oh, I've been playing Wordle again. That just feels good. And Digits is really good too. It's if you ever watch
Ooh, I
It Out
haven't
of 10
tried that one.
Cats does countdown, it's the math portion of
I'm not
that
playing
show.
any math games. I
Oh,
played
I
Math
love
Blaster
math.
once, and I said never again.
Blasted out of there. Speaking of blasting, Ian.
I feel like I'm in week 2 of a weird like video game dearth, but I think I am playing some stuff. So I played a little bit of Meet Your Maker, which came out recently and is on PlayStation Plus. Have y'all heard
That's the
remember-
build your dungeon. Somebody else tries to get through it.
Yes, Weird Helmet Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Dreams?
Shut the fuck up, okay? No, do you remember this? It was in some
I
other
remember it was-
PlayStation stuff.
E3 or Game Awards had the reveal trailer for it.
Yeah,
But who's the
Um,
developer on it?
I don't fucking know, man.
It's like by someone good.
It's
I'm
it's a
saying
really
Dreams
cool
because
concept.
You think it's Media Molecule?
It's kind of like I'm going to reference an even more obscure game, Castle Doctrine. So Jake had it right. Basically, there's 2 halves to the game. In the one half, you are going out and raiding these bases that are either designed by the game or built by other players. The bases are full of traps. One hit and you're dead. You have to get through the base, grab material, and then get out of the base again. The other half of the game is you are using those materials to then build your own base with complicated traps and routes, maze-like type stuff. And that base goes up into the cloud that other people will raid. And I believe as those people try and raid and they die, you get materials from them. But if they're successful, then you don't get as much. So it's this really cool. It's not an entirely new concept, but it definitely feels like a bit of a AAA take on it. It's really cool. The aesthetic of it, the opening is just like it's post-apocalyptic, but it's got some like real grungy meat on it. It's kind of like it's kind of like a halfway orange HR Geiger in a way, a bit more tech on it though than organic, but it's really embracing that and it feels cool and it looks cool. Um the game's fun to play. I was having an enjoyable time playing it. There's it's weird because like they give you this gun. Your starting gun is just like this weird little cross bolt launcher, and it just has two shots. And that's how you destroy traps from a distance if you spot the trap. But then when you shoot, you have to then go retrieve the ammo. Otherwise, you're just going to run out of ammo. And then you have a melee to start with as well. And I don't know why, but that really strikes me because I feel like a lot of other games would just be like, you have a pistol and a machine gun, and maybe you get those eventually. But just the way that they were like, we're going to give you this weird bolt gun, you got to go collect the ammo when you shoot it. It's just like it just felt unique in a way, and that's what I kind of
Minecraft.
like about this game is that it's like it's doing it's got like AAA polish, but it's doing a lot of weird things in it, but presenting it in a really nice way, and that's cool. Unfortunately, I only played about a half hour of it. I'm not going to keep playing it because I got to a point where I was trying to raid somebody's base, and it's at least at a low level. You don't have a shield or anything yet, so it's one hit, you're done, and you're trying to like tiptoe through this base, and it's not difficult, but you could spend 5-6 minutes getting in, and then you're like, oh shit, there's a trap, and it got me, and then you have to start over again. And so it's not really punishing, but it's punishing enough that I don't enjoy that type of gameplay where you can lose progress and have to start over, even if it's only just like 5-10 minutes. So this game is just not for me. It's really cool though. It's on PlayStation Plus. You should definitely go check it out if you're interested. I'm kind of upset, honestly. It's not getting enough press and enough praise, but it seems like the people who play it really do enjoy it, and it's got legs on it in terms of playability because I was seeing like all these upgrade menus. Like I said, you can get enough resources to unlock a shield so that you can take 2 hits instead of one, and like all these weapons upgrades and like suit upgrades so you can jump farther, jump faster, and like play differently. It looks really cool. It's just not my type of game. So definitely, if any of that interests you, it's on PlayStation Plus. Go give it a shot, folks. It honestly, it's one of those games where I'm tempted to put it on our game of the year list as earmarked as somebody else please play this. It wasn't for me, but it may end up on our list, you know.
How many games are on? I feel like we had a lot more games on the game of the year list by this time last year than we
It's like
have this year.
it's pretty much empty. I'll pull it up real quick.
I only have put one game on there, and it was Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, Metroid Prime Remaster, and Fire Emblem Engage. That's it.
Yeah, I
It's a
think
horse
I'll
race.
eventually put Resident Evil 4 on there. I just haven't played enough of it.
And we do have two things earmarked here. Earmarked as in we should have more people play this just to make sure we don't forget about it. One is the Dead Space remake.
Oh yeah, I still have to play that.
The other one is Hogwarts Legacy. I know Will played that. I'm probably gonna maybe play that at some point. Again, we're not saying it's on the list. It's just things that we want to make sure we try because it got enough positive critical reception. And I'm probably gonna put Meet Your Maker on here because I know it's not a game for me, but it's doing some great stuff, and I'd love for somebody else to try it to see if it's a GOTY nominee. Anyways, other game I've been playing.
Wait, I looked it up. Dead by Daylight developer made Meet Your Maker.
That's surprising because Dead by Daylight is just dog shit. So,
but it used to be good.
Anyways, guys, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts, the first one.
And you're enjoying
My first
it.
Kingdom Hearts is back. I don't think I am. So here's the problem: is getting back into Kingdom Hearts. I was kind of looking forward to it. Half of it for the stream experience. It's a crazy stream experience every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. But the other part of it was I think I was remembering the parts of Kingdom Hearts 2 that I enjoyed, which is I did enjoy some of the boss battles. I enjoyed some of the weird design and some of the aspects of the
big
combat
shoes.
I enjoyed. Yeah, it's like even the parts that are bad are enjoyable in a way.
The children.
I think I blocked
dog
all
food
the
shirt.
bad. I think I blocked all the bad stuff out because I've only played 2 hours of Kingdom Hearts and I was just
Did you
I'm
play
done.
though? It didn't seem like it. It just seemed like every time I looked up, it was a cutscene or you were
No,
just
there was I had to run around on an island a lot. Like they
Yeah,
were
but
like
I'm not-
hiding stuff on an island. I kept having to run around and find it.
that didn't seem like playing either. That just seemed like awful.
That's the thing. And even when I got back to the combat, I was like, oh, this combat it doesn't feel good. And I think the problem is people say Kingdom Hearts 2 is an improvement on Kingdom Hearts 1. I forget their name. Somebody in the stream said Kingdom Hearts 1 walked so the rest of the series could run. And I can see that, but it sucks because it's a downgrade from Kingdom Hearts 2. So even though I barely enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 2, I'm worried that barely enjoyment is going to go away because I'm going backwards. But I'm playing it. I promised to play it, and it's still fucking weird.
I'm just glad you're playing it so I never have to play it.
I'm surprised you're watching it because it's a funny stream, but I would never watch a full playthrough of Kingdom Hearts. Anyways, the third game I'm playing, I'll go through this quick. It just deserves a shout out. I've talked about it before, folks. Finally got my copy of Gran Turismo 7 back from Jake.
Finally.
I was holding
that
it
sounds
hostage.
it sounded judgmental, but it's not really. It's just I kept itching for Gran Turismo 7, and I was always just like, I don't have my copy. I don't have my copy.
No, and in fairness, it was sitting on my shelf for months.
It's fine. If it was a problem, then I would have bugged you a lot for it, and then if you didn't send it, I would have been mad. But I wasn't even bugging you for it. I am genuinely a little upset though that you didn't appreciate Gran Turismo 7, Jake.
It wasn't for me. I tried. I played it for like 2 hours. I
thought
got
you would
all
have
the way
at
up through my first license.
I thought you would have at least appreciated the just the, like the jazz, like let's celebrate the history of mankind aesthetic, which
Oh,
is just so cool.
That opening like credit
Yes.
montage was wild. It was
With the sinking of the
bizarre.
Titanic.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like,
Even,
wait,
even
what's this racing games reminding me about the
The
Hindenburg?
Wright brothers.
even just the cafe where they're like, okay, in order for you to get quests, we call them menus. So you go to a cafe and you
Yeah,
talk
it's
to somebody
super
and they
weird.
give you a menu, and it's like, okay, this is weird, but it's also like I appreciate the
could
commitment to
definitely
the bit.
appreciate like the kitsch and like the
Mhm.
weird little bizarre charm of it all, but there were too many actions between driving moments for me personally.
Yeah, I could see that. And even when you're driving, I talked about this before. They have fixed some of this. So I'll give you an example of one thing they fixed. I'll give you an example of one thing they haven't fixed because they're fucking idiots. So one thing they've fixed since I played is you go to do a race and you realize it's going to rain, or you go, hey, I want to put racing tires on to be a little bit faster, etc. You have to back all the way out of the race, go to the shop, buy the tires, equip them to the car, then go back into the race. They added a little menu that's like, hey, do you want to buy, they call it like race store, and they're just like, hey, you're about to do the race, click this button and you can buy tires real quick from here. And it's like, great, cool, I can buy tires and switch them real quick. That's something they fixed. Nice quality of life improvement. Exactly like you're saying, they removed 20 clicks for something you're doing commonly when it should have been there from the start. The thing they didn't fucking fix though is that when you finish a race, you finish the race and it's like, hey, you came in second place. Here's your XP. Here's your money, etc. Okay, it immediately starts playing a replay of the race, like a video replay.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I don't fucking want this. Why are you starting this by default? And then you press, let me see if I can remember this correctly. You press the X button and it pops a menu. And the first default choice is replay, like view the replay video. So then if you just trying to mash accept, you will accidentally start the replay again. So you have to hit circle, which backs you out to the correct option, which is exit, and you hit that. And then it takes you to another screen, and the other screen says, do you want to retry the race? Do you want to replay the video or exit? And the first option is fucking replay the video. So then you have to hit circle again. So even just like ending a race requires you to have like teach yourself muscle memory to dodge the replay, otherwise it will play or keep shoving it in your face. It's so you're totally right. There's definitely stupid stuff like that in there, but overall, the game's still real
Fantastic.
fucking good.
The
It's
driving
great.
felt good. I just wanted
It's
more of it faster.
it's incredibly good driving. I don't want to get into too much, but I was going to have a whole conversation about how uh my journey the past couple of years is realizing that I'm not that good at video games, but I am good at racing games and picking up Gran Turismo 7 and stepping back in there and just being like, I'm fucking on it, folks. Like I'm fucking blowing the doors off these people. I'm nailing these apexes. I'm carrying so much fucking speed through these S curves. And it's like, it just feels so good. You guys ever have that experience where you like pick up a game or a type of game and you're just like, this is my jam. I'm fucking nailing it from the start. I'm in it.
Yeah.
Star Wars
Every game.
Racer.
I could see that. Yeah. I could see that. I feel like Will, for you it's like Dwarf Fortress like games where you're just like, I'm picking it up, I'm putting it down, loving it.
No, absolutely not. I am quite good at Mario Kart. If that helps. Pick it up pretty quick.
Yeah. You're okay.
I can't
It's
remember
not-
who won. We did a
We did.
Grand Prix at Extra Life, didn't we?
Well, it wasn't, there weren't points, but we just played like 10 races in a row.
Oh.
And hey, my excuse was I was producer at the time, so I was half paying attention. So I wasn't there. It was between you three, basically.
I
I think
it's
Will
funny.
was mostly winning, right?
Yeah,
I don't
because I'm
remember.
incredible at it. I did win. Thank you very much.
I know you say that, but every time I have to bring this up, which is I used to play Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS. Actually, I think I played 8 as well. I would go into 4chan, and there was a thread for people who played the game, and they would host a lobby, and I would join that lobby, and those people are very, very good.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
insanely good.
Yeah, there are people who are really good at Mario Kart. I think I'm better than the average person at Mario Kart.
I could see that.
Smarter
Yeah,
than
I
your
could see
average
that.
bear.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was talking about this with someone at the Mario Kart tournament that was a couple weeks ago. Junior from
Did you
Mr.
win?
Awesome. I did not. I was a host, so I didn't really. I mean, I participated in one race, but I wasn't in the race.
Oh,
I did beat a couple people. Anyways, I
Outside the event.
yeah, in the game.
In the street.
no, but we were saying how we both in Mario Kart 8 still wiggle the stick back and forth because that's what you did in Mario Kart DS to power up, and it doesn't do anything in 8. Yeah, it doesn't do anything in 8, but I still do it because it's just like muscle memory from the DS one.
Yeah.
That DS one was so good.
It's wild because I remember playing Extra Life. Kyle was doing good, and he does the shake controller to jump boost.
Yeah,
and friend of the site Jimmy, he's very good at Mario Kart. He uses gyro controls, which is insane.
I will
But he's
also
good.
say,
He's very good.
When I did race in the tournament, I sat down and they had wireless GameCube controllers, and I had no idea what buttons did what on it.
What version of Mario Kart were they?
No,
playing?
it was a Switch version. They're wireless GameCube controllers for the Switch, but it was just what
Fuck them.
it's Sip Studios. It's all the extras that everyone brought in. It's not like we have money to buy pro controllers or anything. So I was just like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
Also, it was one race, so if you fucked up, it was one race. So
That's
like,
a little.
it was only because there were like 45 people, and to do 4 people,
Yeah.
4 races is way too many. But it was a fun time. But I was gonna say to you when you mentioned the Meet Your Maker, I was gonna play Meet Your Maker. Fired up the old PS5, and
Controller's dead. Controller's dead.
the controller's always dead. Yeah,
That's true.
I'm out of. I've had so many funerals now. It doesn't even mean anything anymore. I'm no longer a PS Plus subscriber. It must have lapsed.
But didn't we cheat?
Yeah, we did. When is that up? Because it's up for me.
You must have turned off auto resubscribe.
And I
So
said,
so
I'm
okay, wait. So
free,
let's
so I
describe
turned
this
the
for people
PS5
at home. So I believe what it was that normally for I'm gonna pull this out of my asshole real quick. I think normally for the premium tier of PlayStation Plus, the brand new PlayStation Plus Premium, you get everything. I think it's probably like $150 a year or something like that. But they had this weird thing where if you were a PlayStation Now subscriber before they flipped it over, they would convert you to a different tier and keep your price. And then they had a deal where you could get a year of PS Now for I think like $85. So
it was
we
cheap.
signed up for that, and 2 months later when it flipped over, we ended up with $85 annual PlayStation Plus Premium, which is almost half off. Again, I'm pulling numbers out of my ass, but
But-
I know it's like $85 because mine resubscribed recently for annual. So I think your auto resub.
But did it
was
resubscribe
off.
for 85 or did it resubscribe to 150?
It was like 85, baby.
Oh, okay.
I'm
No.
fucking in there. I'm grandfathered. It's great.
That's fine. I never play my PlayStation 5. I literally booted
same.
up the day to watch Inglourious Bastards, and that's it. I don't do anything else with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There with you.
I don't touch that fucking thing. Although I was gonna play some Gran Turismo 7 because that game's fantastic.
So
and
good.
Jake is wrong.
This is a tangent episode, so I'll just finish out Gran Turismo 7 by saying this. It's become I usually wake up around 7, hang out on the phone for a bit, and I don't really have to
Yeah.
start work till 9. So this week it's been I'm gonna sit on the couch and I'm gonna put my little phone on my belly and I'm gonna play a podcast off the phone.
That's what I do.
And I'm gonna play Gran Turismo for like an hour and a half, and that's my wake up routine now. I just wish console games and there are no true podcast games on the console because of how fucking difficult, weird, awkward it is to play a podcast through your console. I've tried it before. It's too weird. It's too awkward. It's not as easy as the PC. Somebody's got to fix that.
The Spotify app is great on the Xbox.
Yeah, but the problem is it's Spotify though, so fuck that.
True, but I do like that.
Pocket Cast, baby.
I've been since we're tangenting, I'm gonna tangent right back at you. I have been trying to find some podcasts to listen to. I watched I
Local
think we
chat.
talked about this. I watched Valkyrie,
Shit.
banger of a movie. I forgot how many people are in
Tom
Valkyrie, by the
Cruise's
way.
big prosthetic butt.
There's like 1,000 people in that movie. And they're
Great
all
movie.
famous. Great movie, historically accurate. They almost killed Hitler.
It
You know-
is fairly historically accurate. Though.
No,
That's
it is.
pretty-
It is fairly historically accurate. If
One
only
of
worked.
many attempts on the
Um,
Führer's life.
Only worked. No,
Pretty
but
goddamn
I've been like super into World War II stuff. I didn't hear what you said, so I can't laugh. And I was trying to
It'll
find
get
something.
clipped.
I wanted to find something good to listen to. Anyways, I was looking for a World War II podcast. I found one that was pretty good.
Wait a minute. Why aren't you going back to hardcore history? He's got at least Ghost of the Ostfront. I think
Yeah,
he
but
may
they
have a
all cost
Western Front one
money.
too.
I don't want to pay for
Let me
them.
tell you something. 110% worth it.
But I'd rather listen to the free ones before I give him money. I have the
You could- yeah.
the Japanese one.
Yeah, he just did one on Japan that was very good.
But they're like
that was
18
very good.
hours. I started listening to him. I couldn't
It's
tell if I
worth it.
liked his voice or not. So I'll circle back. Anyways, I did pick up The Second World War by Anthony Beer, something like that.
Everbeer?
Beer. Anyways, so I started reading that the other night, and that was
Oh, it's a
satisfying,
book?
some of it. Yeah, book.
Can I
And then,
can I recommend a book for you? Like
God damn it.
genuinely, it's very, very good. It's called The Rise and Fall of the
Of the
Third Reich.
Reich. Yes.
I've
by
read it.
William S. Schreier. It's incredible, and there's so many things that make it great. But one of the best parts about it is that you slowly realize that the author was in Germany in the 30s, because he will have these little segments where he'll be like, the Austrian ambassador met Hitler at this hotel. They had this very tense meeting. This is what they said. The Austrian ambassador looked very flustered as he passed by me in the lobby that morning. You're just like, wait, what? But it's great.
Excuse
It's
me?
like it's I'm gonna say it's concise. It's a large book, but it's concise
it's
because it's
thick.
like literally just the Third Reich. We're not going to spend 200 pages on German history before World War II, before like the 30s or anything. It's just like, no, we're going to dive into details. And like, I'm going to say something, which is that it's very easy to be like Hitler is an absolute monster, and he is. But the thing that people underestimate was how much of a fucking political animal genius he was.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the amount of crazy shit he was pulling off, like the whole thing with Austria, and they're like sneaking Third Reich members into the government to get the government to capitulate, and they choose somebody, and then the guy's like, "Surprise! I've been a Nazi the whole time," and then it like opens the doors to Germany. It's like just insane political maneuvers over and over again, and that's what you don't get with a lot of World War II history, is all that
Yeah.
backdoor dealing. So
So-
definitely read that. It's a
And
great
the
book.
first,
perhaps
like-
never as good a propagandist as Lenny Riefenstahl.
I don't
Deep
get it.
cut film reference, everybody.
The beginning of this book was great that I just started because it was like really set the stage so you understood like what the German people were feeling at the time, which was like, and Hitler exploited that by
Yeah.
being like, hey, you're strong, you deserve more land, you deserve like, and like telling people what they want to hear.
Is this turning into a
And
World War
then-
II history podcast? Because I went to Germany. I went to Germany in August, and talking to Germans, and
Respects.
no, and one of the things we kept seeing was the West Wall, which is like the dragon's teeth. Like, you know how they have like those tank traps, dragon's teeth that
Yeah.
you see? They built that along the whole fucking western wall of the country in the 30s, the late 30s, because they knew war was coming. You know, that was kind of their defensive measure. And one of the smart things that Hitler did was, you know, post World War I, the country's in shambles. They have all this money they have to pay because of the Treaty of Versailles. And Hitler's like, how do I get the people on my side? I'm going to fix the economy and I'm going to give them all jobs. And their job is to work for the West Wall Company, which is to
Yeah.
build this fucking defensive wall. So one of
Build
the ladies that I was talking
uniforms,
to,
all that
she
stuff.
was like, I found some papers from my grandfather the other day, and in the 30s, one of his jobs that he worked for a couple of years was for the West Wall Company building this wall. Like, that's how they like. So it's one of those things where like you're right, he did exploit that like German behavior, but he did do like legitimately good things for the German economy, and then was able to transition that into like terrible ideology. So it's that's the thing that people underestimated Hitler, but it's like that's why like
People
I was
did.
never that scared about Trump, because Trump's a fucking idiot. But if Trump had any intelligence plus the popularity he got, that's where it gets scary. That's fucking Hitler. That's the problem.
That's when he's
know?
gonna sink the Lusitania.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Well,
when it's
yeah,
like, oh
that
no.
was the next thing I was going to say is like exactly what you brought up. It was like that. Hey, let's just start making uniforms. Let's just start doing this. Let's just start doing that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I wanted to find. I didn't know how to Google this. Full tangent podcast here.
You didn't know how to Google it
join
without
the-
ending up
no.
on a list.
Yes, I really want like I want a podcast, which I don't know if it exists,
Oh.
but I want a book. Something about like my something. No, I want a book that goes over, and not specifically Third Reich, but the design philosophy of their uniforms.
Oh,
Surely
yeah,
that
like-
exists.
No, surely it
gotta
does. I just don't
Well-
want to Google book about Nazi design.
Sure.
And like, but less so that is one of the reasons they're always villains and everything, because they're so striking uniforms and stuff. But like, why they painted it this color, why Luftwaffe and stuff was
Yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff, why it was
That would
I
be
was-
a cool book. Yeah.
it was. I genuinely want to know the like the logic behind, because every and that extends out to every military had their own version of a Jeep, their own version of goggles, their own version of a life vest, because they couldn't share with other
40K.
countries.
Yeah.
So like I want to know the design philosophy from those designers of like why you did this, why you did that, why like there's got to be some History Channel or Nat Geo thing about that. I just have to Google it.
Honestly, it's probably like some design book from a college in the 50s or 60s. That's probably
Yeah.
your best bet.
Because I was actually looking at, I have uniform books for like Napoleonic Wars and stuff, and they do sell uniform books for like World War II stuff. But again, I was just like, no, it's not
'Cause
quite
that's-
what I want. That usually doesn't go into it. But
Oh.
I also want to look up.
Sorry. So what you could kind of look up is, I didn't realize, I was going to say Bauhaus is after, but actually Bauhaus is from the 20s. So if you looked at like Bauhaus, that would get you if you know what Bauhaus is, it's like, if you see it, you would totally recognize it, but it's basically like this German artistic design movement in the 20s that
Gotcha.
has still inspired today, but that
Mhm.
probably inspired some of
Part of me wanted
either
to
as a
see.
or maybe as a counter movement to it because they were more about Roman design, etc.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's like a great like Hugo Boss
You know what?
documentary
Look, it's
going
tangent
over that.
podcast.
Just being like,
I never told you this, Will, because I don't think you were on the episode when I came
oh
back from
god.
Germany. But but I joined something. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, one of the best places that I went, best as in like the most surprising and interesting and shocking, is I forget the name of it, but basically, in the 30s, after Hitler gained power, he started developing. He took over control of the education system, and one of the things that he started developing were these were these three basically like colleges, and the colleges were all about this is where we're going to send the best and brightest men of our country in their like early 20s, and we're going to build the Ubermensch at these colleges, right? And
Yeah.
so I went to one of them. Like it still exists.
How's class?
It's kind of boring. No, but it's weird because here's the thing though is that so part of it was torn down, part of it was like a Belgian part of it was like a Belgian and then eventually like a British barracks for the military, but they still have a lot of these structures. And if you and you're it's so hard for me to describe it, but like you see this it's fucking Nazi architecture because it's like almost like the Eagle's Nest. Like they have these like Roman style outdoor amphitheaters like on a
brutalist
cliff's
stuff, right?
edge. Yeah, like a little bit brutalist, but also like Roman design. And you go into the museum and you see these pictures, and they're like, Goebbels would come once a month to give these speeches, and they would show all these like men, and they spent years there just being like, you are the future of the human race, and like indoctrinating them. And they had all these outdoor statues with like Roman designs, and there was one I forget what it said, but it was like glory unto Hitler, etc. And like the Hitler was scratched
clip
off and
that.
removed
Don't clip
because
that.
but it was funny because the Hitler part was scratched off and removed because the Americans got there, and the first thing they did was like tear up any references to him in the sculptures. But the sculpture's still there, and so like that was all about like their design. And of course, the best part, honestly, the very best part was that when the war started, all these Ubermensch that they had been training for years, they didn't know what to do with them, so they just became normal fucking grunts in the military. They didn't even give them officer positions.
Oh, that's so good. Welcome.
Yeah, and then it was funny because there's this little tiny section at the end of the museum where they're like people who went to the school that are alumni of this. They try and hide it. They've changed their names. We know that they have snuck back into this place as tourists like 3 different times because we have found letters from this secret group they maintain, which is all about alumni of Hitler's college school. And it's just so funny because they've just been like they've I think most of them are. There's definitely ones that are still alive, but they're like they try to hide within society because some of them are ashamed or they know that it's like a stigma, but they're still like communicating with their like old college pals. And like they said one time in the 70s when it was a military base, the military base opened up for a day. And so like 20 of them got together with their wives and they're like, we're a ski club and we're taking a trip. And it was just a cover for all these alumni to go back into their college. So that was one of the craziest things because they've it's been changed and altered and the whole thing isn't open, but walking around it, you're like, this is literally a fucking Nazi training camp. And it's 100% all that design you're talking about. That was a crazy part of the trip.
Yeah, that's wild. I think boils down to, for me and all that stuff, is just like fascination with how quickly like America developed technology and everyone did during a war. Like same with World War One. Like from the beginning of that to the end, you had planes,
Crazy.
and then from the beginning of World War II to the end, you have all that other stuff. Is like military.
Just
and then
like
trickling down to everyone else. It's just interesting.
World War II, the tanks they started with in 39 and the tanks they ended with in 45.
Oh, yeah.
Just completely different. Just insane.
Wild. It must have been fun.
When did this podcast start?
It just went everywhere. Jake,
That's a
what's
great
your favorite thing about World War II?
It's a good question.
And you're not allowed to take one of our
My
answers.
grandpa lived through it.
And my grandmother lived through it. Well, both my grandmothers.
He was 18 in 1944 in France.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
turning
Um,
96 this month, and he definitely
yeah.
shot at least several Germans and maybe a Russian.
Good for
Oh,
him.
that last one's surprising.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Those
I'll tell that
French
story
Russians.
next time.
My grandfather was a machine gunner on a tank destroyer and was in the Battle of the Bulge and stuff, but we don't know details about what he did specifically. But one of my dad's hobbies for the last 10, 15 years is literally compiling as much information he can about his unit. Jake, I think you would appreciate this. One of the things my dad has become is he's made all these friends with Germans and Belgians and French who are World War II historians, and they will email him and be like, "Hey, can you get me this document?" And so now, like twice a year, my dad will drive up to DC to go to the National Archives and go to the National Archives, pull out all these World War II documents and sit there for like 8 hours, like scanning and photographing them. And then he'll send it to them and they'll be like, holy shit, like nobody's ever seen this before. And they'll like put it in their books and then credit my dad for it. So that's his whole hobby
crazy.
is like, it's like tracking all that Battle of the Bulge stuff.
Just want to talk about this more, but we can't because we have to at least. Well, I was just gonna. The last thing I was gonna say, which is a thing I want to also look into because I never realized that, was the communication where it's like all the ladies. Again, I only watch Valkyrie, so it's just showing the German side of it.
Mhm.
All the ladies like sitting at the typewriters reading the orders, and then they're typing them, and then they print out in strips off the typewriter. And then the other ladies lay them down onto order sheets so then they can be scanned or whatever and put into like files. So when commanders are giving orders, they like make their way through the typewriter system. It never occurred to me that's how that stuff worked before computers and everything. It was just person to person filing them. Like you make 3 copies of it, one to file away, one to send to the person, one to like. It's just like there was so much manpower that is covered by just human being or just computers now that it never occurred to me like there was a human doing every step of the way.
Yeah,
so I thought that was interesting too, because like you could make there's so much room for things to go wrong, which is crazy to me. Anyways, World War II, folks, look it up if you haven't heard of it. Great game we've been playing.
Tune in next time to hear about our thoughts about Admiral Yamamoto.
Yeah, we're gonna dive deep in the Manhattan Project and a thing I like to call regret. An oops. Anyways, learn how to stop a war early. Should we go through the news section here? We can do quick hits. You want to hit quick hits?
You want to do quick hits, or do you want to save the good stuff for next week in case next week is slow?
Yeah, we can save the good stuff for next week. The one thing I was hinting at earlier was yet another dev about Star Wars Battlefront 3 canceled 2 years from the finish line. The original Battlefront 3.
Yeah,
and
that confused me.
Sad.
I saw that headline.
Not
yeah, I saw that headline. I was like, why do we give a fuck about a third DICE Battlefront game? Yeah. But then when you said the real one, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
There's all those leaks of the third one out, and I just want the final version of whatever they had to leak so we can play it. Anyways, folks, I'm gonna hit the outro button. Jake Terrio, thanks for being here and tolerating Ian's weird fascination with the H word.
You
I'm
brought
just gonna
it
say. Folks can't hear the music. Now you can hear the music. We will be back this weekend, Scanlines, 5 p.m. Eastern on the good old Saturday. I still have to confirm guests, but we'll be playing some games from my childhood, which will be a fun time. And then we've got Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, my first Kingdom Hearts. See, it's on Tuesdays now, so I can't get blitzed drunk.
You can get blitzed. I will, something I planned to do the first episode, but I ran out of time. I will be starting the second episode by eating a Twinkie with Cheese Whiz on it. It's going to be a great time.
Man, you killed the music.